Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever it may be for you. How's it going? All right, I know. I got my new condo here, Nick, right? It comes with spaceships and everything. Good morning. My name is Dave Wilber. I'm an agronomy consultant. My friends call me the Turfgrass Zealot. It's a moniker I've had for a long time, and I am live this morning, and I'm super excited about that. It's 7 a.m. where I am, and it could be any time where you are, and we're good with that. Hello, how are you? All right, so I'm in my studio today, and feeling kind of funky. So we put the funky music on, and I like that. It's Friday. I'm loving doing these Friday morning things, and the response has been amazing. And while I'm at it, please don't forget that it helps me a ton if you subscribe and hit that notification bell. I know I sound like a damn YouTuber. Please subscribe and hit the bell and it's just the way it works. And I think we're on to something, and I think it's been really, really fantastic. So there it is. All right. So what have we learned? What have we heard? What's going on in my world? Well, let's talk about the last few episodes of the Turfgrass Zealot project. We've had some amazing responses. A lot of communication with me, which is great. I love it. I'm glad to have that kind of communication. I am. And, it's been, I would say that some of the questions have been pretty challenging, as far as the last week's episode had to do with the assistant superintendent. And I had two kinds of reactions with that. I had supers reaching out to me saying, I think you're right, but what do we do? There's nothing to do. I don't know what to do. And that's, that's a trick. And Kevin, good morning. Welcome to the chat. Digging the tunes. I know I feel funky today, right? I feel funky. In fact, speaking of chat, let me see if I can't bring that to where I can see it better. And that way I can look you guys in the face a little bit more. I'm not moving my head around so much. There we go. Yeah, I'm digging the tunes too, man. Sure. So anyway, we had a lot of superintendents reach out to me and say, well, I don't know what to do. Right. I've built this situation. I've built my empire. And what do I do with the empire? And I'm like, well, you got to figure this out. Like, if you want the revolving door and you want, if you want to constantly be training and all that sort of stuff, I mean, yeah, maybe that is the empire that you've built. I'm not sure that's the empire for everyone. Right. So we've had some good conversation around all that. We've had a lot of really strong, smart people, who just get it, and they know their way around their situation. They just have to be brave enough sometimes to pull the trigger and make some changes. I had surprisingly enough, I had a few general manager, director of golf types reach out to me a little bit and say, well, Dave, you want our operation to go broke. And it's like, no, I don't. That's silly. If you're gonna spot another $5,000, $7,000, whatever it is to an assistant, to ensure that your operation is running stronger, and you think that's going to break the operation, we have to talk. We got to talk, man. So there's been some of that, which has been really good. If you haven't seen that episode, please take a look, and let me challenge you to work on your situation, work on your world, so to speak. All right, well, I want to get right to my plan for today. And my plan for today, see if I can get it kind of working on my screens, and then I'll switch things over for you guys. Let's see. Yeah, you know, I'm good at this. I'm good at this, right? Aren't I? Yeah, I'm good at this. Okay, we can. I have to change some things over really quickly. Okay, good. All right, I know what I'm doing now. So what I want to do is I want to share something with you guys that that this is actually, and it first of all, let me back up. It's my goal here not to sit here and bang away on PowerPoint presentations and PowerPoint type stuff. I mean, shit, you can get that in any turf conference, anywhere, anytime. You know what I mean? I just don't, that's not what I want to do here. What I want to do, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, what's the word? I'm trying to put us in a situation where I could be sitting in your office. I mean, now you're sitting in the studio with me. I could be sitting in your office, and we're going to have, you know, 30, 45 minutes, whatever, talk about grass, right? That's what I want to do here. And so we're not going to, I just can't see myself, you know, like banging away on PowerPoint presentations and stuff. It's just not what I want to do. So we talked about water movement in soils, and I showed a video and kind of annotated the video, and that went over really well. People were really, they thought that was really cool, right? And I'm starting to kind of develop the technology and the skills to use it. So that's working. And that's the kind of thing that we would do on a consulting visit if I was sitting there. So what I want to do today is I've got an older PowerPoint presentation that I used at a conference somewhere. I don't know, I've done this talk a few times actually, and so I just kind of grabbed it, threw it from one hard drive to another and said, listen, I want to kind of bring this up and start the conversation with this. Okay. We'll start the conversation with this. And, I haven't even really bothered to slick this up. You know, I'm just not going to slick it up. And, I don't know. That's what we're going to do today. Okay. And I'll put myself down in the corner so that you can see my smiling face. And let's talk about a few things. Let's talk about agronomy, huh? Shall we? Let's talk about investment agronomy. And the question for you is, like, are you investing? Are you an investor in your agronomy situation? Are you a consumer or an investor? Ooh, that's kind of an interesting question, isn't it? In a consumption-oriented kind of world. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of feel like a lot of people are good consumers. I feel like they make good buying decisions and all that sort of stuff, you know, but I don't know that they're always thinking about the long term. So let's get into it. I don't know. I always like to show vacation slides in my talks just to warm up people. St. Andrews in the wintertime. St. Andrews is never a bad place, and it certainly wasn't bad on this day. I love this picture. I love it. 12th of December, I think that was. Some years ago. All right, so everybody in our world thinks that they're working with, you know, we're working with less, and we're just doing it, you know, you know, it's just rudimentary, right? Here's the rudimentary thing. I don't know. I've been in some places in the world where rudimentary means a lot of different stuff. Those dudes are happy, aren't they? I think a friend, you know, told me, he said, well, at least they could get him some shoes. I don't know. I was laughing about that. All right, let's get into this. Let's dig into this. And this is part of what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to lay the foundation for a lot of the minimalist talk that I like to talk about. You know, I'm gonna use that word minimalism a lot, and I want to quantify it a little bit and explain to you. Alistair McKenzie was a minimalist. You know, this is from one of his books. Never to spend a penny on the golf course unless you're absolutely certain the money expended is going to do good, not harm. I love that. I love that. It was my great pleasure to get to work with and get to be friends with Walter Woods, and Walter passed away not long ago, and I miss him. I love him. Boy, look at that. Who's that guy? Young. Wow. I think it was like 1996 or 97, something like that. Walter embracing a large agronomist. He called me Big Dave, and I love that. But Walter, was a great influence on my life and my career, and there was many things I learned from him during the course of working with him at Kings Barnes and a few other projects. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for Walter. And this is the kind of thing. I pulled a soil test out of my bag one day to look at it. He said, put the bloody damn soil test away for long enough to touch and feel and smell the soil. You'll never be able to really grow grass. You'll water and fertilize yourself right into a hole. That's exactly what he looked at me and said. Pretty cool stuff. But I fell in love with St. Andrews, and I fell in love with all that. And yes, I do play golf. And I don't know that I hit the ball right where I was supposed to that day. But we were playing with this guy, Jim Farron. And the tall one is Jim Farron. The short one is Archie Baird. This is a picture from Muirfield. And I just want you to know that I was tied with Jim on this hole in our match. He waxed me on 17 and 18. But anyway. But I love Scotland, and I love this, links golf and links land and all that stuff. And so I always want to show this stuff. All right. So here's hard reality of our business right now. You better make hard choices. You better be able to defend those choices through your communication style, through your tools, all that sort of stuff. And there better be a return on that investment. And by the way, today's chat is open, so feel free to throw some stuff in chat. That's what we're here for. You don't have to, we're not just sitting at a boring seminar. And again, I'm not going to go through this whole talk. I'm just not. Okay. Cause I want to spur some conversation, and I want to talk straight with you guys about some stuff. But this is the hard reality of our business today. Anybody who says different is just not working in the same business that I'm in. I don't know what business they would be in, but there it is. And I don't know. Is it the hard reality of the world? Possibly. John LaFoy, great quote from him. See more golf courses improved by hurricanes than by green committees. We have a lot of work. We have a lot of stuff going on, in our committee world and all that sort of thing. And I'm reminded of this because a friend sent me a note this week and said that some positive things that happened in this green committee. And it's like, oh, good. That's a good thing. Right in the age of Zoom and all that, they actually had a face-to-face meeting and it went well. Mask up and do it, I'd say. At this point, that's what it feels like. Okay, hit the right button. This is the BS that I've had to listen to, and I get tired of it. I get tired of it because I think all these things keep you from being a good investor. Base saturation doesn't work. All you need on your golf course is ammonium sulfate. Look, I do that a lot. I'll say, hey, sometimes this is all we got to do, but that's not all. That's consumption. I was on this program. Now I'm on that program. I liked this salesman, so I started buying his product, and I liked her, and so I bought from her. And it's like, really? People calling me up and saying, these are all things I'm used to listening to. I've got a pH problem. No, you don't, and we're going to cover that in a future topic. There's no pH problem. All these guys want to do is sell fertilizer. Well, I don't know. When we're trying to fix soils, when we're trying to make things better and invest in stuff, yeah, every once in a while you got to kick it on a little bit and get some things done. I love this one. There's more than one way to skin a cat. If the slides that I showed, or the little video that I showed about water moving in the soil means, that was done in 1959 and it still holds up. I don't know. I think there's a lot of folks out there that are trying to reinvent the wheel because it's marketing and not necessarily because it's agronomy. So there it is. These are some things I had to listen to. I used this at one of my talks, and so I had some, these other people were talking. So forgive the names. I didn't want to change all that. Here's some things that make me crazy. Growth regulator abuse. Hey man, growth regulator is going to solve all my problems. Between the Paclo and the and the Primo and all that sort of stuff, we're gonna get everything done that we need to do. Joel Simmons and I always talking about the continued ignoring of carbon-based fertility. When we're always trying to feed the soil back, and again, we'll touch on that in some future stuff. The idea that mineral weight amendments are a waste of time. Dr. Clark was speaking at this particular conference when I created this slide when I was sitting in the back of my room, and he was kind of saying, hey, Chris Clark said, hey, no, you're not wasting your time when you're trying to do things better. Watering when water is the last thing needed. My goodness. Again, these things make me crazy. And the idea that soil tests can be gotten from anyone, that you need charts and graphs to be any good. And that water is water. Can't wait to dig into the water chemistry part of things with you guys. It's going to be a big part of it's a big part of my consulting work, and it's going to be a big part of some of the videos that I do here. And when we do some videos that are not live, that are more produced kind of things, then we're gonna have some fun with that. All right, what should you never give up? Like somebody asked me one time, what would I leave in the barn no matter what? You know, calcium, things to recover from, anything with carbon, dealing with water quality versus surfactants and acids. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. Water needs to be our friend, and sometimes we got to force it to be our friend. So I'm into that. How about iron? Like, it's such a big deal for turfgrass. I'd never give up on iron. Now, I just got done slamming growth regulators, but here I say growth regulators. I think the thing is, there's a difference between abusing the growth regulator and using it as a tool. And seed. Nobody buys enough seed. And let me quantify that a little bit. Sprigs, whatever, if you're in warm season, you know, but let's plant some grass, huh? Hey man, I want my bent grass greens back. And we have too much POA. Well, did you buy any bent grass? Well, no. Okay. Let's start there. Right? That's the investment that we're talking about here. That's an investment. These things are investment. To me, looking at a list like this says this is investing. Become an investor, not just a consumer. I want to show you a few slides of a few things we were doing. This is at the original version of the sheep ranch. I'm trying to think what year this was. 2003, 2004, something like that. Here we are. We've got some material, some nicer material, and what we're doing. That's Donnie Plasek from Tom Doak's office on the dozer, pushing that material out, and then we'll do some tillage after that, and you know, trying to get those soils corrected. I mean, yeah, the sands are beautiful and everything, but they were out of carbon. We had hauled a bunch of thing in to rebuild that. No, I'm not on the screen. To rebuild this area, we had to haul a bunch of sand from inland, and by the way, there's the 13th hole of Pacific Dunes back here, just to orient you a little bit. So then we found some great material, and we built a soil, and then we pulled that all together, and that's how we did that. We were investing, and everybody said, God, why are we taking all this time? Dave, what are you doing? Why are you making us? And I'm like, listen, this is a big deal. They still use that green site on the Coore and Crenshaw version of the sheep ranch now, and for good reason. You know, the place grew grass for sure. This is in Tasmania, Barnbougle Dunes, and here we are spreading carbon-based materials around some of these sands. Let me tell you something. The wind would blow so hard there, those sands wouldn't stay in place. I mean, I don't know if you can kind of tell. And so what we did is we found a really, really good compost that was done by some of the local potato farmers, and we spread that, and it stabilized those sands. We were able to work, you know, all that sort of thing. So again, we're investing in the agronomy, not just consuming. And you know, I don't know why I put this picture in. I guess because sometimes green committee meetings turn into bonfires. Yeah, when you're speaking live, anything to get somebody's attention. All right, I just want to go over a couple of things that we did. You know, when I talk about investing in your agronomy program, first of all, I'm a big fan of telling everybody that you must do some test plots. Here we are at a golf course in Northern California, Valley High Country Club. We did a bunch of work out there. Dean Kinney and I, when I was with Sierra Pacific Turf Supply, we did some cool stuff with, you know, tenacity, trying to figure it out. And basically, I mean, the superintendent did the work. We did some of the spraying and kind of, you know, pulled it all together. But it's like, hey, listen, your golf course, no problem. Putting a little bit of test plot out, doing some work, trying to figure it out, you know. And then we were able to figure out, hey, is the turf lawn tenacity versus the control, is it worth it? You know, I mean, it did some damage, but we got rid of the paspalum. Here we were working on getting rid of knotgrass, paspalum, and also thinking that, hey, maybe it'll have some effect on POA. Well, you can't just sit and guess about this stuff. you got to deal with it, right? And that means, doing some work, doing some trials. We worked some Touchdown Pro, some glyphosate into that program. Hey, maybe the glyphosate's the deal. Maybe that's going to get rid of the knot grass and the paspalum. So we did some work with all that. I'm not going to go over all the research information. And then a year later, we went back to evaluate. And you can see that, okay, the Touchdown Pro actually worked for us. We actually got rid of a lot of the knot grass that never came back. Right. So we have the uncontrolled check on the very left, and the Touchdown Pro in the center. The Touchdown Pro on the very far right, and then middle was the Turf Lawn Tenacity. So, well, it's like, okay, well, maybe the investment here is using the glyphosate to get rid of it altogether and not repeating these applications. Oops, what just happened? I knew it. I knew that this was going to come apart. Okay. There we go. And then we want to, we always want to think and this is at another golf course in Northern California. It's like, what's the right thing to do as far as, how far can I push it? And in this particular case, the label, the high label rate was like 8 ounces per acre of this particular material. And at 4 ounces per acre, you can see that we got the injury. This is, again, working on knot grass and all that. So, what did this tell us? Well, it just told us that we didn't have to consume as much material, right? We could pull back a little bit. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying investment agronomy. Okay. We did this thing where we were working with Tribute, and it's the Tribute is this blend of Revolver, Celsius, and Sedgehammer. And we wanted to get rid of Dallas grass, and we was like, yeah, the stuff isn't labeled for cool season grass. We know we're going to smoke some cool season grass. So we took this little corner of a cart path where there's a bunch of Dallas grass. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Dallas grass, but it sucks. It sucks. And of course, when we sprayed it, right, it smoked the Dallas grass and all the cool season grass and everything. But the cool part is look at this, like a year later. This is where we sprayed and where we didn't spray. And the superintendent wants Bermuda grass in that little spot, right? And it's like, oh, look, we won. We won. Plus, we cleaned up the POA and all the other cool season grasses. So we got the Dallas grass, we got the ryegrass, we got everything that he didn't want there, with that thing, right? And then so that led us to thinking, okay, well, is this, this the Revolver? Is this worth it? But to this super, it was worth it for sure. Look, here's the hard reality of our world today. You got to make hard choices. You got to defend those choices, and there better be a return on that investment. This is when I talk about investment agronomy. This is what I'm talking about. And how about you being your primary investment? Kind of feel like that. I kind of feel like maybe a lot of you don't invest in yourselves enough, and so you're watching today, and that means that you're investing in yourself. And I listen, I get it, man. I can be a consumer too. I love to dig into new stuff. I was always an early adopter. I was always the, here, let's try the new thing. Let's try the new stuff. And sometimes the new stuff was the shiny, the shiny baubles was like, wow, this is really good. Like, thank God I did that. Right. And other times it was like, yeah, man, I'm just falling in with everybody else. I'm just doing this because this is the hot new thing and I didn't want to get left behind. And to me, that's not investing. All right. So anybody in the chat have anything to say, please, again, use that chat. I mean, I imagine sitting with me in your office and you don't use the chat. Like, that's kind of weird. You don't talk to me. I know it's the electronic format, but this is how it works. This is how it works. This is what we're going to do. This is how I'm going to do it. It's kind of unique, huh? Unique in the world. Let's talk a little bit more. I don't need those slides anymore. Let's just talk a little bit more about some situations where I've seen people investing where it really does well. I want to go back to the seed thing. For years and years and years, I've heard, that bent grass greens that have a certain percentage of POA without rebuilding them, without resurfacing them and all that sort of stuff. can't be converted back to a majority bent grass situation. And that's just not true. When we do it right, and again, we put enough seed in the program, we, change everything around, do the right things, that investment becomes real. Yeah. So time and time again, I'll often write, and I try not to do this, but I actually have some boilerplate, where I'll throw it at somebody and say, okay, here is the maximum best practice for getting bent grass back in your greens here. If we're not going to resurface, if we're not going to rebuild, resurface, then here's how to do it. And I just talk about that. I say, well, this is investing. We're going to invest in your golf course, and yeah, that means that you're going to triple your seed budget. And if you're just looking at the line items, yeah, sure, bent grass seed is expensive. I get it. It also goes a long way. That many millions of pounds of seed, or many millions of seeds per pound, excuse me, are, it's real. It's really real. So I love that kind of thing. When we talk about carbon-based fertility, I'm often challenged a little bit. It's like, why would I do that? And it's like, well, part of that is that we do have to shove some nitrogen in things to get things to grow. And there is a cost in that, in the carbon thing. And so we do that. All right, looking at the chat. I work from my base. So from the chat, I work for my base program and sub in products to make us more efficient. I love that. Efficient, that's a great word. And overseeding is critical. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you for that, Ben. Man, I appreciate you. I just wonder sometimes, let's go back to the carbon thing. It's funny that it's become the carbon-based fertility and using, bio this and eco that or whatever, has become a controversial to me. And it doesn't make any sense, really. That it's, I just feel like that is all kind of, marketing, buy our product, don't buy our product or whatever. I mean, I'm a huge fan of picking the right material and doing all that sort of stuff. I was having a good chat during the GIS with Brian Grill from Yara, and we were talking about one of their products, and I'm like, I was a huge user of that product because it was so good in cold weather, and I needed that bump, right? Calcium nitrate and calcium nitrate based stuff. And so it's like, we were just talking about, Yara having the calcium nitrate, thing together. And years later, when I got to go to Israel and visit the calcium nitrate production stuff in Haifa and all that, I was like, oh, now I get it. We're learning the chemistry about all that. So it's not all about just, synthetics versus, and hear what I'm talking about too. Those like, oh, whoops, bumping the camera, not good. Calcium nitrate, right? There's some calcium in that whole world. Oh, what did I say I wouldn't give up? Yeah. So I don't like, and I don't participate in very much in this sort of this versus that mentality. I don't do it too much with minimalism when it comes to MLSN and base saturation. I think that's silly. Both of those concepts work, and they work when applied correctly. And one of them is a little harder to use because it involves, a lot of math, and it relies on a way better testing protocol. And we'll get to that someday. Something I want to cover in great detail to the point where, hopefully I'll melt some brains with it. But I just don't understand why we look at stuff like a compost and say, well, if I'm going to be out top dressing teas or whatever, and I can mix some compost in with that, and I can really, do some benefit. And all it takes is a little bit of testing and a little bit of looking and a little bit of finding the right material. And yes, I have to handle it and mix it in. But isn't that investing? Over the years, I've had the opportunity to interact with members, owners, people like that in my world. Some of them fantastic people, and some of them absolute horses' asses. And I can tell you that when it comes to investing their money, when it comes to building their empires, they don't, some of them may cut some corners or whatever morally, but when it comes to doing the work and figuring it out and knowing what's going on, they're all pretty good at it. Again, I go back to those pictures of the test plots that we did in the fairways. And it's just something I don't see people doing enough of. And so somebody will start talking to me about, they want to do this or they want to do that, or they heard about this or they heard about that. And I'm like, well, did you trial with it? Do you know what it's going to do for your situation? Well, gosh, it's Dave, it just came out. I'm like, yeah, I get that. So, why don't you take that back of that par 5 and set up some plots and figure out the rates and figure out the situation is going to be for yourself. And, obviously when we're talking about some of the materials that we've used over the years to work on foliar control on greens or, overseeding enhancements, that kind of stuff. I know when Revolver was first coming into the world, we had to figure it out. It was, okay, I want to force a transition from my ryegrass to my Bermuda grass with a chemical. I got to know exactly what the hell that's going to do without question. So we do that. And that's what I'm talking about when I say, are you an agronomy investor? Have you got that situation together where you are really looking at what your investment strategy is and putting that in place? Some superintendents that I work with, it's almost like a business plan for them. And I love that. They get out the plan, right? And it doesn't mean that, we can't shift, right? The weather's going to be different and all that sort of stuff. But here's my business plan. Here, what does a business plan have? Right? It's got a certain set of goals. They're measurable. We're going to get to this. We're going to get to that. Here's what the spending should look like and all that sort of stuff. And, if you're presenting that kind of thing to people who don't have an agronomy background, committee, finance committee, general manager, owner, that sort of thing. And you don't put I'm so stunned sometimes. People will tell me, well, they didn't go for it. And I'm like, well, show me what you told them. Well, I just said that. And I'm like, you said? Like, where's the writing? Where's the info? Where's the, and they're like, well, okay. And so you're mad at them, right? You think they are the dumbasses. Well, I'm not going to sit here and call a client a dumbass. I guess I do that with some people, in a good way, in a loving way. But I think the thing is like, well, you didn't sell that, and you didn't do your homework and you didn't pull it together, and you're talking to people who are, used to making business decisions, and they're going, I don't see a business in this. And we want to convince our world to invest in what we're thinking, what we're doing. I see people being much better at it with iron, quite frankly. And I understand that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ben, for being here. Gotta go wake up the kids for school. Great points. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here today. I hope more people will use the chat. That's what I think when we do these things. We'll get used to it. I know I drop into people's live feeds and I'm like just typing away because I love it. I love to communicate that way. But so don't be embarrassed. And by the way, I won't read every comment. If there's something you want to say that's a little edgy, that's fine. You can do that. But just getting back to that whole idea of, hey, I'm investing in my property. I'm investing in my property not just by buying iron, not just by buying the best mower that I can get or the best set of grinders I can get or whatever it may be. But I've got an agronomic strategy here that says, hey, we're going to try to make things better. And some of the things that we put down are not going to be wow, bing, shish boom bow kind of thing, right? Some of the stuff we're going to do is going to be a little mundane. It's not necessarily going to give us the big response all at once. But over time, we get to do better. Years ago, the nature of our business is people were moving a lot. They were changing jobs a lot. It's not that way as much anymore. And so, that's, I'll ask somebody, hey, well, what's your plan? How long do you want to stay here? Well, if they'll keep me, and of course I know that's part of the caveat. If they'll keep me, then I want to stay, I want to stay longer, as long as I can, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, my career, whatever it may be. I'm like, okay, well, why wouldn't we do some work for the long term then? Well, I want them to see what I'm doing is good. Well, they're going to see that. And sometimes you got to tell them that. Sometimes you got to say, hey, we're doing this, and I'm telling you, this is an investment. And this is an investment strategy for your property, for your place, for the place that you're a member of, that you're an owner of, that you're an equity part of, whatever it may be. And we turf heads, we'd love to make places our own, right? This is my golf course, say. My place. Yeah, that's good. Treat it like that then. What would you do if it was yours? I said that to a superintendent once. I'm trying to make a decision about, kind of how to present some budget stuff. And I said, let me ask you a question. What would you do if you owned this place outright? Oh, no question. I would do this, this, and this. And I'm like, okay, good. Go sell that. Go sell it. I'm sure that if you carry that kind of passion into that meeting, it's going to work. I don't see why it wouldn't. All right, cool. Well, hey, let's switch gears. Should we switch gears? Let's switch gears for a second. Should we talk about Tiger Woods? God, I hate to do this. I hate to fall in for the whole world. I just want to say one thing, and I don't know, now they're, I was reading some headlines yesterday, and it's like everybody's saying, well, they're investigating, they pulled a warrant, for the black box in the car and all this sort of stuff. By the way, they do that a lot now. These higher end vehicles have all the data, and why not get all the data? But let me just tell you, as a veteran road warrior, right? As a veteran road warrior, loaner cars, I don't know that I've participated in the loaner car program too much. I mean, let's talk rental cars. Maybe that's more my, I don't know that the brand new Genesis loaner cars maybe completely applies to this, but I can just tell you, like, rental cars are freaking scary sometimes, man. I mean, I've had rental cars that they didn't put oil in when they supposedly did an oil change. Actually, I had I had a brand new Ford Taurus that evidently got delivered to the Hertz place in Arizona, and it had no oil in it at all. I don't know why. And the thing made it about 30 miles before it was a smoking heap of seized motor and me bailing out of it with my gear. That was a good day. I've had rental car brakes go out on me. I've had tires fail. I've had, all kinds of stuff. So I'm just saying, the whole idea of driving an unfamiliar vehicle, in unfamiliar places, sometimes can, it's taking your life into your hands, I don't know. Did the guy fall asleep at the wheel? Was he under the influence? I don't know. All these things are going to come out, but I guess in my mind, I'm glad that he's alive. I'm glad he's alive. I don't want anybody that isn't he kind of one of us in a way? Aren't we all a little bit together in this whole crazy thing that we call golf, turf, sports? I don't want the guy to die. I want his kids to be without their dad. There was a lot of talk when he first got hurt that, that maybe he was going to lose a leg, right? That leg was pinned so badly when they had to cut him out of the car that, it was going to be, one-legged guy. And I'm thinking to myself, oh boy, at least he's alive. That's what I thought. It'll be interesting to see how everybody handles everything. I get tired of the media junk. Those of you that follow me on Twitter know that I'm frequently kind of tough on media stuff, and they pulled the black. They do that. They pull it. Listen, they want that data from that car. The insurance company wants it. Everybody wants it. Is he on the cell phone? And somebody said to me yesterday, they said, well, how could it be that? How would they know if he was on the cell phone? I'm like, listen, you're hooked into the Bluetooth thing in that car. It's gonna know, right? That data exists. So we live in that world now. when I get my Tesla someday, my Tesla is going to know everything I do. And that's why I'm going to let it drive me around. So I can say, well, I didn't do it. What are you talking about? All right, speaking of Tesla. Oh, such a good segue. Speaking of Tesla, did you guys see the rocket? And if you know me, you know I'm into space and space stuff and all that. And so the last couple weeks it's been full on geekdom for space. And Mars, let's go to Mars. Take the rig to Mars, land a helicopter on Mars. I mean, I was just, wow, this is so cool. You know, the little kid in me who played with rockets and spaceships and stuff and watched all the Star Trek episodes and everything was just flipping about the whole Mars deal. And then, back to the Tesla thing, Elon Musk and the rocket, right? Number 10. And the thing goes up and it does everything it's supposed to do. It comes back to the landing pad, sits there for a little bit, and then boom. And I'm like, oh man, this is so great. I mean, you can't write this any better. If you haven't seen those YouTube videos, you probably should. Should we watch together? I guess I was more prepared. I would have that all ready to go. I'm not going to put you through me searching for YouTube videos, but just know that it was pretty damn cool, man. Rocket goes up, does all it's supposed to do, comes back down, lands. Everybody's pretty stoked, and then there was a fuel leak and kablam. The rocket falls over. That made me laugh so hard. I stream on Twitch just about every day, and lately I've been playing a video game called Elite Dangerous, and Elite Dangerous is all about space, and it's very geeky. It's very deep. There's all kinds of layers to Elite Dangerous, and now they're coming out with some new. They just announced yesterday they're coming out with a whole new gameplay loop, where you're going to get to walk around in your spacesuit. Elite Dangerous was always about being in the ships, And by the way, I've been playing Elite Dangerous since the 1980s. That product has been around. The first time I played it was on the Amiga, the Commodore Amiga. Any of you who are old like me know what that's about. So I've been playing Elite Dangerous forever, and it's available on Xbox and PlayStation and all that. So now that I game on PC, I think it's better. I played it a little bit on Xbox. I'm not a big, the controller just wouldn't do everything I wanted it to do. What else? So yeah, I've been streaming every day on Twitch, and that's been a good thing. I'm gonna invite you guys to show up. It's twitch.tv/the Wilberforce, and you can hang out with me there. You can chat. You can do stuff. It's my stream is improving. People are showing up. I don't really talk about grass that much unless people ask me about grass, but it's a cool place to hang out with me just about every day. Here in the time of COVID, when I'm in the office a lot, and I find that I've got to switch gears. I can't work turf 24/7. And there's been some things that have kept me from streaming every day, and a few things like that. We'll get into that soon. COVID related, family related stuff. It's hard. We've been talking, of course, a lot about mental health, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to keep advocating for, and the feedback has been incredible. I'm going to keep doing that. We're going to cover some more mental health stuff very soon. And I continue to hear from golf course superintendents, assistant superintendents, any people in the business, GMs, anybody that kind of hears me and they go, Dave, you're speaking to me. I need to deal with this. I have this going on. I have that going on, and I love it. And please never, ever not reach out to me. But I just, I'm very careful. I'm not a therapist, but I'm an encourager, and that's what I'm put on the earth to do. Is to be a voice of encouragement and be an advocate. My Myers-Briggs type says I'm the advocate, right? That INFJ thing, and there's a lot of people that need to be advocated for, especially in our business, which can be very tough on people. And if you're in this business and you don't think it's tough, I'm happy for you. I'm really happy that you've never experienced stuff, because some of us have, and it's been for some people very costly. And it doesn't have to be. And I wish I'd have learned that lesson 20 years before I did. I really do. So that's why I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm not going to give up on that. Somebody said to me recently, they said, well, you talk about assistant superintendent salaries, sometimes politics and all that sort of stuff. Why don't you just stay in your lane and just talk about grass? I'm like, that's not how it works with me. We're not going to do that. We're not just going to stay in our lane. All right. So we're getting close to the end of our time. Anybody got anything in chat that they want to bring up, ask, or anything? Now's the time. If you're watching live, I appreciate you so much. I feel like I don't always want to have stuff on the screen for you guys because we'll also convert this to a podcast. These episodes will be converted to podcasts. So I'm really trying really hard again not to do that sort of bang away on the screen kind of thing, right? It just doesn't make sense. Because I know a lot of you love to put on a podcast. You love to put something on, even YouTube videos. I'll watch YouTube videos without watching the video. I just want to hear what they're saying. I don't need to see the video sometimes. At any rate, I see that we've got, we've kind of been bouncing back and forth between, around 20 people in stream live today. And I love that. But I just encourage you, don't, and you know what? Listen, if you got to create a fake account or an alt account, I guess we should say, not fake, so that I don't call you out or whatever, or, so you're not embarrassed if you ask something, do that, whatever it's going to take, right? Whatever it's going to take. And I want this to be interactive, and I'm glad when people interact, and that's really cool. All right. So that's it, man. That's about my time. I'm pretty stoked about all this. I really am. I'm getting to the point where it's like, I feel like, how do I say it? I feel like people they're going to embrace some new media stuff, and I'm going to be part of it, no matter what. Right. I really am. And I love that. And I know when I started the Turfgrass Zealot podcast a long time ago, people were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I think I'm doing this. And now podcasts are everywhere. But it was like, so many people, what's a podcast? Right? So it's the same thing. What's a live feed? What's a YouTube feed? All that sort of thing. All right, very good. Well, listen, I'm at the end of my list. I'm at the end of my list here. So I think I'm going to say my goodbyes. Thank you again for being here live. If you're watching this recorded, thank you so much. Again, it's important that you subscribe to the channel. We're looking to push up to that sort of 1,000 subscribers, and at that mark, then YouTube will, maybe cut me in on some ad revenue and some stuff like that. And there's some things I want to do there. I want to make this thing work, and soon I'll have a Patreon program for some of you who want to be deeper supporters, and we can do all that. And again, over the years, people have said, how can I work with you? I can't, we can't quite afford to bring you to wherever we are in the world. And I was like, I'm going to find some ways. So this is me finding some ways. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. I love you guys, and I appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic week. I will see you next week for more stuff. Again, don't forget that I stream on Twitch every day, and I post that schedule on my Twitter account, and you can find my Twitter account pretty simple, at Turfgrass Zealot. And there you can reach out to me via the DMs and all that sort of stuff. And if you have questions or there's anything on your mind, anything that you'd like to see me cover here. All right, that's very windy. That's very windy. Thanks a lot. Have a fantastic week. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks.